Okay, if you're a parent, you know this feeling all too well. The school day is over, but your job isn't, not by a long shot. Now, your second shift begins, the homework shift. And for so many of us, this is where the daily battle begins, leading to some serious burnout. Today, we're going to talk about how to finally call a truce in that nightly war. So let me ask you straight up, do you feel like you've become the homework police in your own house? You're constantly on patrol, checking in, maybe even threatening to write a ticket for an incomplete assignment. If you're smiling or nodding right now, trust me, you are in very, very good company. And it turns into this relentless cycle, doesn't it? You nag, they tune you out. You remind, they forget. You argue, and the tension in the house just skyrockets. And by the end of it all, everyone's just frustrated, and the whole point, learning and becoming responsible, is completely lost. It is absolutely exhausting. So how in the world do we break out of this? Well, the very first step is to completely reframe the problem. Because while it feels like it's all about your child's laziness or procrastination, these situations are really more like a dance. And you know what they say, it takes two to tangle. It is so easy to land on the belief that my child is just lazy or they're just not motivated. But what if that's not the real story? The hidden truth is usually that the dynamic between you and your child is what's stuck in this frustrating loop. This isn't about a flaw in your kid, it's about a pattern. And the best part, a pattern is something you can actually change. And that change, well, it starts with looking in the mirror. Now, this can be the tough part, I know, but figuring out how our own parenting styles that are full of good intentions, might actually be feeding the problem is the key to unlocking the whole thing. Let's look at a few common ones that can, surprisingly, backfire. Do any of these ring a bell? First, you've got the navigator, who's like a human GPS for every single task. Then there's the demanding parent, who sets the bar so impossibly high that the child feels like they can never quite reach it. And of course, the anxious parent, who, out of pure love and worry, ends up transferring all their own stress about the future right onto their kid. All these styles come from a place of caring, but they can stop a child from ever learning to drive for themselves. This metaphor just nails the feeling of that demanding approach. You keep dangling the carrot, thinking it's motivation, but if the finish line keeps moving, the distance never actually shortens. For your child, it feels like they're in a race that has no end. And who wants to keep running a race they can never win? So let's flip the script for a second. What does this all feel like from their point of view? To really understand why a child might resist or shut down, we've got to try and step into their world and just see how all this pressure feels from the other side. And this brings us to a really big idea in psychology called learned helplessness. Just imagine this. You try your best at something again and again, but you're always told it's not quite right, or someone just jumps in and does it for you. After a while, what do you learn? You learn that your efforts don't really change the outcome. So, you just stop trying. You give up. This isn't laziness. It's a completely logical response to feeling like you have no control. So when a child is living under that constant pressure, they just feel totally overwhelmed. They start to feel like they're fundamentally flawed, like they can't do anything right. And naturally, they start to resist being controlled. That's just human nature. They become so anxious about making a mistake that it actually feels safer to do nothing at all. See the irony? The very thing we want, for them to take initiative, gets crushed by the very dynamic we've helped create. Okay, so we've looked at the problem, we see the cycle, we understand our own part in it, and we can see how our kids are feeling. Now for the good stuff. How do we fix it? The big idea here is to shift your entire role. It's time to hang up the badge of the homework police and step into the role of a coach. And this whole transformation from cop to coach, it really boils down to 3 foundational steps. That's it. Number 1, connect before you correct. Number 2, model the problem solving you want to see. And number 3, and this one is huge, let them learn from their own failures. The absolute first rule, the non-negotiable starting point is this: focus on the relationship before you focus on the homework. It's everything. When your child truly feels that you are on their team, that you're an ally and not their opponent, their walls come down. They actually become open to your advice because they trust that you've got their back. Next up, modeling. You have to remember, your kids are watching everything you do. One of our sources told this great story about getting a traffic ticket with his kids in the car, and they saw the whole thing. How he talked to the police officer, how he handled his frustration, and how he accepted the mistake. Kids learn way more from watching how we handle our own lives than they ever will from our lectures. And finally, we have to let them fail, okay? I know, this is probably the hardest step for any parent. Our instinct is to protect them from any kind of discomfort. But here's the thing, getting a bad grade because you forgot to do the assignment, that is a natural consequence. And it's a teacher that is way more powerful than we could ever be. When we shield them from these small failures, we're actually robbing them of the chance to build real, genuine resilience. And that really brings us to the big final question to chew on. We get so wrapped up in the daily grind, right? The grades, the projects, the deadlines. But what if we all just took a step back? What if the real goal isn't to raise a perfect student who gets straight A's, but to raise a resilient human being who knows how to stumble, get back up, and try again? Now that's something to think about. A better world is possible,